A discovery recently made deep within ancient India has rocked the historical and scientific communities alike. Although reminiscent of many other ancient rock paintings I have previously shared found globally, such as the astonishing 8-mile-long prehistoric rock art found long ago within the Amazon, all created using red ochre and displaying things we simply cannot explain. This newly made ancient discovery, however, is unquestionably something which is particularly special. Found in Chhattisgarh and dated to some 10,000 years old, the artworks depict in detail not only alien craft visiting our planet, but appears to be a record, a timeline of this miraculous event, clearly depicting an alien visitation from the skies. UFOs seemingly opening above tall, strange, yet incredibly detailed depictions of strange beings which drench the ancient walls of this remote corner of India. With the Times of India even revealing that those now involved in the project have reached out to none other than NASA to ask for them to also get involved in the examination of the discovery. It must be noted that NASA has indeed been claimed in the past to have played leading roles in not only studying certain developments and objects, but have been equally accused of subsequently being involved in the cover-up of these objects' existences. Could we be looking at some of the most compelling evidence of ancient extraterrestrial visitation to our planet ever discovered or documented? I will, of course, keep you all posted on any further developments and indeed what NASA decide to tell the public about this discovery. It is a mystery which I find highly compelling. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to support my controversial research here upon YouTube. Thank you.
The ancient mega-metropolis of Guatemala, undoubtedly one of the most incredible and indeed one of the largest ancient ruins ever found on our planet. With a past population now believed to have been as many as 10 million people, many of the ancient ruins within the Guatemalan rainforest, long thought and academically argued to have been separate settlements, have now been discovered to have once been all part of the same super settlement. However, although incredible discoveries have been made at the sites, in particular the incredible site of Tikal, including the ancient plaque depicting a seeming cataclysm, have all been found at the site, yet what was discovered most recently is no less incredible and may also depict a war between these differing concentrations of people within its many ancient settlements. A giant frieze, or frise if you will, 8 meters wide and 2 meters tall, has been found within an ancient pyramid long hidden, buried within the rainforest, found along the exterior of a multi-roomed rectangular building within a 20-meter-high pyramid. It was created in a style now long attributed to the Maya. The carving depicts human figures in a seemingly mythological setting, suggesting it may depict deified rulers. It displays 3 human figures wearing elaborate bird headdresses and jade jewels seating cross-legged and appearing above the head of a mountain spirit known as a Witz. A cartouche on the headdress contains glyphs which were used to identify individuals depicted by name. Yet, alas, only the central figure's name is still legible, with an inscription saying Ochchan Yopat, meaning the storm god enters the sky. 2 feathered serpents are also shown emerging from a mountain, with a spirit below the main character forming an arch with their bodies. Much of the building in which the frieze was found still remains encased under ancient rubble, yet this has seemingly aided in the preservation of the incredible artwork, with the carving still possessing its paint, reds, blues, greens, and yellows, all still existing. Francisco Estrada Belli, director of the Holmu Archaeological Project, made the initial discovery. Quote, "This is a unique find. It is a beautiful work of art, and it tells us so much about the function and meaning of the building, which is what we were looking for." End quote. Thanks to the artwork and the message it conveys, archaeologists now believe it is evidence suggesting that the rulers of the region were once embroiled in a political clash of the titans between the kings of Kanul, the Snake Kingdom, and the kings of Takal. And although we now know that these settlements, and indeed the depictions of these different apparent clans, were all connected, it could be indicative of the ultimate reason for the demise of this once great civilization. Are we looking at the only artwork ever discovered throughout Guatemala which sheds light on the demise of the mega metropolis? We find the evidence to suggest so highly compelling. Over the last few years, more and more modern technologies have been utilized by individuals with access to them in an effort to not only expose the truth regarding the real history of man, but to discover the actual original size of these now lost civilizations' ancient ruins. Many sites have been laid to waste, not only by future settlements and tomb robbers, but by Mother Nature herself. Many of these most impressive sites having endured eons of erosion after being mysteriously abandoned, exposed to the elements. Yet there exists a number of these sites which have been somewhat protected from these forces. Although vegetation can have a catastrophic effect, uprooting the megalithic foundations of these sites, yet the actual footprint of these structures, and indeed the overall size of these once lost settlements, can still be seen through modern penetrative radar, with one of the most incredible found in the past few years. Undoubtedly, the mega metropolis hidden beneath the dense forests of Guatemala. Although some clearings dotted within this landscape have been spared, somehow avoiding the suffocation of trees, it has been discovered that these sites, long argued as separate sites of habitation, were, in reality, once part of the same gigantic city, one of unimaginable size and complexity, that was unquestionably home to not mere thousands, but was in fact a settlement that was home to more than 10 million. Yet although this reality is a compelling, supportive fact regarding our own beliefs, in regards to a far greater, now hidden, and widely ignored history of mankind, there are still features of this ancient site that is still attempted to be ignored, overlooked, and hopefully concealed from the majority of the world's population, ultimately avoiding them questioning the true reality of what they have been taught, and the possible truth regarding our history, which these sites could provide to all those who gaze upon them. Although these particular megalithic blocks somehow stood on their heads, have been explored and exposed for nearly 100 years, with many photographic expeditions having been made to these sites, it has now been proven that these megalithic blocks were not merely signposts made of stones in situ, but were clearly stones cut and once transported to their current location, and were actually strategically placed within one huge mega-settlement. This fact is attempted to be stifled, avoiding individuals questioning how, if indeed they were transported and cut by our more recent ancestors, the Mayans, how they actually accomplished this feat when they clearly required now lost techniques and technologies, as although they were far more primitive, technologically speaking, to the modern man, with us only accomplishing such abilities within the last century, all thanks to modern technology. This is clearly an identifying feature which exposes the true capabilities of the builders of this enormous city, and the fact that although academics would like to argue that it was merely a Mayan settlement, It possesses, like so many other astonishing sites on Earth, as yet unexplained enigmas, which not only fly in the face of this explanation for their origins, but actually suggest that they were merely re-inhabited by the Mayans, allowing archaeologists to point the finger at such a group due to their archaeological fingerprint having been left at the location. Sites which were in fact built by a now lost, yet once highly capable ancient civilization, that due to their immense age has now been lost to history, like so many of their ancient settlements, lost to the sands of time, with only the foundation of which now survive, thankfully exposed by modern technologies. Who were these ancient people? How, or indeed why, did they move and cut such enormous, enigmatic ancient megaliths within this enormous, now lost city? It is a place which we find highly compelling.
Danehole, yet pronounced Danehole after the Danes. Intriguingly, their purpose, although almost exclusively cut into chalk strata, is completely unknown, and although claimed to have been created by an invading party, were solely created within Kent and South Essex, consisting of a small vertical entry tunnel, which then opened into what could be described as spacious multi-room living quarters, with the largest inner chambers measuring some 18 feet wide, and some set at a depth of over 80 feet, particularly those found in Hangman's Wood, Essex, which, interestingly, is now known as a site of special biological importance. These unusual chambers have baffled all who have investigated them. Undeniably dating prior to the documentation of history in England, cut into an unusually hard variety of chalk, all of which showing no deer horn, metal or flint tool marks, or any of the stone cutting, and many individuals who have investigated the inner chambers have concluded that the Daneholes must have been cut into individual cube blocks and then somehow extracted from the chambers. How this was achieved, however, is yet another mystery. Thankfully, due to Hangman's Wood being a preserved area, more than 50 Daneholes still exist within the 3-hectare site. What were the Daneholes used for? Who could have built them? Were they, like a number of other underground chambers we have covered in the past, found the world over, once built to be lived in, clearly attempting to shield oneself from an exterior threat? If so, why? Were ancient peoples in the UK also attempting to hide from something? An initial investigation of the Daneholes was undertaken in the 1800s, with almost nothing regarding the investigation into their origins having been undertaken since. Although, fortunately, they are now receiving independently funded attention, the results of which will be available soon. We will, of course, keep you posted. Who dug the Daneholes? What were they used for? We find said questions highly compelling.